and I can replace the clay places later. And there is a lot of build up to do, so it would very much be in my interest to have a butt ton of clay here in Harlem. More so than all of this wool malarkey. But wool is a special shape, so I should fill that up first. 122, I need 167, so that's 45 of them. I think I wanted to build earlier, but there were troops at the door or something. Probably. That's a good excuse, and I'm rolling with it. How many did I need? I've already forgotten. Oh shoot, I should take note of that. 45, and I built one here, so it's 44, so that's 11 of these. 10, 9... 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Son of a god. There we go. Alright, that's all the sheep farms that I will ever need for my current setup, where everybody's at 10,000 except for these guys. Happy days. Which means the rest needs to be fish. Get smoked houses. I'm sure I can build a load of those, but I also want extra clay in prep for the build-up, because, I mean, there's an annoying thing about that, and that's that fish will consume salt and hemp. If I don't keep up with that, then the salt and hemp stuff is going to be under-consumed and overproduced. Not a huge deal, really, and I really want a lot of clay. Lord knows I have plenty of wood. Let's build the clay. Still on the fence about that. Let's bring fish up to 150 at least and see how we look. Now the amount of businesses is 438. So I should be missing 112 fish places. That's exactly how many fish places I'm lacking. Good. That tells me that that's a number that I can trust. Because it updates when these are built, regardless of the businesses actually being finished. It does the same with houses. Now, even if I somehow find that Harlem can have more than 550 people, I'm going to force it to be stuck at 550, because that's what my calculations take into account. Plus, room for extra warehouses is seldom wasted room. Warehouses are good. Okay. Boy, do I love city building in almost any other game. But this is just a heap of ass. You can see what they were trying. Doesn't really make it any less bad. Yeah, a clever thing would probably have been to build the clay stuff first. But I'm running low on space here. Pretty low. I'm confident we have the room though. Each of these cost 80 clay, so it's almost terrifying to know just how much I'm going to be lacking by the end of all this. But lacking I most certainly will be. No space there? No, okay. 19. Oh, there's a lot more space than for 19 here. I think Harlem is massively undershot for capacity. Nonetheless, we'll take it as it is. And we're just gonna treat ourselves to some extra clay. Hold on, have I built all these guys? No, there's room for 19 more. And 19 more we shall have. And yes, I see a description in chat. You are not allowed babies because we do not account for that. Two more to go. And we are Persona 4 golden. But I still want that extra clay, so this stuff can be deleted later on for other things. Otherwise, how many of you do I have? Infirmaries. Nice of it not to count for me. I count 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 infirmaries. How many infirmaries do you need for 55,000 people? Slightly less than 20. So I still want like 6 more of these. They're expensive in new and interesting ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many chapels do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'll probably want like 5 more of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's a lot of space left for other things. I am not overflowing with warehouses here. Okay, 29 is rather a lot. But it's a big place and it's going to have a lot of stuff, so I see the merit in having more of them. And wow, Harlem is undershot in a big way. But I need to fill this up, otherwise the AI is going to fill it with crap. I could fill it with clay and then I can use this place to very swiftly switch out food production, i.e. the fish, with clay production when I really need to build up in the future. Which strikes me as a pretty good use of the space. And even in the late game I can switch out these with pretty much anything else. Extra warehouses if I want to make this another hub, for example. That's the only example I could think of. I mean, I can also build squares. They take up the same amount of space and they're easy enough to demolish. They also don't cost many resources. Oh, what the fun is that? What time is it anyway? Oh, it's plenty of time left. Great chapel placement. People will know what district to go to their favorite chapel if they're all in the same district. Yeah, I wish there was any incentive to actually make this look nice, but there is not. It's a chore through and through. We're doing good, people say, because they are obviously American. Such an American phrase, that. Doing good, you. keep people telling me they've never heard that. Okay. Everything else looks fine. I mean, oh boy. If I finish this, then I will know that at least one of my cities is built up to maximum. And that is 1/33 of the way that we need to go. Isn't that promising? So I don't know what episode this is going to be when all the YouTube scrubs eventually watch it. I'm going to guess it's episode 65. And here, for what I can only assume is episode 65, I'm saying we are about 1/33 of the way through doing the naval part of this perfect Hansa. Not even starting on the inland stuff that I'm not even 100% sure I'm going to do, because when I see all the inland mechanics, I think, who would ever want to do this? Who would pay for this? And then I remember the answer is me for both of them, but we'll see how far we get with that train of thought. Okay, I'm not sure if there's any space for anything left. This reminds me of the story of the jar that represents your life, where you have the big, huge balls that you put in. They represent the big things in life. Smaller balls, tiny balls, and sand, and 2 cans of beer. And you gotta put the things in the right order if you want everything to fit. Harlem looks pretty much complete to the untrained eye. I'm willing to believe that there are no more proper buildings that we could squeeze in. I'm willing to concede that there might not be space for many or any more squares. I'm not too concerned about squares. They seem to take up slightly less room than other regular buildings, but to be honest, I don't even know what real effect they have. They say they increase the wealthiness of nearby burgers or something. Who cares? But there's something we have not done here, and that, no, you don't have to be mayor for this, but that is building these wells. Well, 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 there's not much space for these at all. Wouldn't get them around the sides even, because they take up a pretty much full square like the other things do. And this game can be very picky about where it puts the full squares. So it's a good thing that you don't have to do big wells, you can do small wells. Let's build one. Let's put one here. That well should supply the whole city, right? Well, no, it supplies 3 houses. We have 550 houses. Somebody quickly do the maths for me. How many of these wells do we need? Whilst I go around and try to build them. Build it within walls only. We're pretty within the walls here. Da 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 da. Also, just in case I crash the game with all this, I'm gonna save, because the game can be quite crashy. 184s says Havocs 088. Well, we're 12% of the way through now. Let's keep going. You know, they say these things cost resources to build, but we're building them instantly, and I don't really see the need for it. So the saving grace for this stuff... Hang on, I didn't build anything here? Was I not able to build anything here? Scary. You gotta be a bit fragile with where you put them. I mean, I'm tempted to just hold auto-clicker and zoom everywhere. But there's a sweet spot of the distance between these things for ideal placement. And you're pretty much seeing it here. Excuse me. It's that allergy to not making money kicking up again. Some people take comments like that way too seriously and are like, oh, Jake, are you actually okay? It's like, well, of course I'm fine. I have no allergies at all. Except, of course, to not making money. That one's never a joke. We're lacking wood. Help me. Well, I'm helping you. I'm instigating the first proper fire defense force for any of the Hanseatic cities, so get off my back. We done yet? I hope we're done. Close. 85. So you might say, why are we building these? I'm not sure if it affects their prosperity or happiness or whatever you want to call that value. The one that's a percentage when you decide whether or not they are prosperous or wealthy or in state of decay. Not that, that's a half-decent game. A state of emergency. Not sure if it affects that, but it affects the plagues that come in, and you really don't want plague. Especially when you're planning everything to be perfect cell. 100. Nice. I really hope that actually pays attention to per house in this situation, so. Alright, that looks good. We need honey, they say. Alright, Harlem is done. I can actually tick it off as green. I mean, it's tempting to make it some kind of super green, but green it is. So, you know, if we bring up the good old spreadsheet, things are looking pretty peachy, right? You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those places have colour. And I'm sure at least 5 of them actually mean to have that colour. So the money that Harlem is going to generate me is just lovely, and I want it to continue to grow. Is there really no meat here? Can't wait to have meat around so I can do meals for the poor here. Because it grows fine and well, but it could grow more. I would like more. More is more. There was Bruges, of course, but the wildcard Thagnus should be on its way there. Oh, it's on its way back. But I did just throw all these all these building materials here, so it should start building. There we go. I want that iron. Man, is this guy ever going to just stay happy? The answer is no, because as your places get bigger and bigger, the lords become more and more needy. Because what is scaling? So between my university upgrades and actually using hulks, we have some really meaty attacks going on here. So this looks pretty fine. Too much pitch. And I do wonder if that's because we don't actually disperse enough of it or not. If the pitch is fine in both Edinburgh and Hamburg, I suppose, then everything is okay. In the center, everyone, I believe, gets pitch. Yeah, and to the east, everybody gets pitch, right? The lovely thing about pitch is that I can offset it by sailing my way over to the Mediterranean. But I'm starting to think maybe I shouldn't have all these different people going to the Med. Maybe just one super Med. Hard to say though. Because doing this is a pain. Especially when I can never remember which goods we actually want to bring over. I mean, I could replace the names and actually say which goods I meant to take with them, and that would cut down on a lot. And that's probably what I'm going to do. Carvel, carvel, carvel. I will probably actually replace these guys with carvels later on as well. They're faster. Considerably faster at that. And with a much larger capacity, because these guys clearly are fully stocked when coming back. Might actually help with growing these things. Right, you could actually stand to work again, because I'm probably producing fish once more. Well, kind of. Alright, Bruges is looking good. It's just a case of going around cities and building them up now, up to how I want them. So the British Isles is done except for London. If I make my move on London, then I'll have a use for all that grain, which Aalborg now does not produce enough of, and I do worry for starving my people now, so let's keep that up. No, don't do that. But the Rostock was also a source of grain, and I cut that down. My other source of grain that I have down here is Groningen at 50. So Aalborg for 100, Groningen at 50, and then Rostock at 68. So Rostock is actually working towards its 68. We can see there we've got 20 going on top of that. Aalborg almost could have 100 if I just built these things up. I'd need a few more. And once I finish my iron problems, then I will be able to switch over to this. And there's little reason not to build these up ahead of time. So I could easily switch if the need for grain is dire. And the need for grain is often dire, so I'm happy enough to do that. That is strange, that way, the way that that built. Okay, I'm not counting here properly. 77, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, 1, 2, 3. Good enough. That should be 101. Which makes even less sense. Why would it be an odd number? Straining my head over that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 60. 64, 68, 72, 76, 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100. Okay, I'm pathetic at counting. Stettin, are you yet ready to revolt? No, I'll lend you some money, I'm a nice guy. You're producing some clay, just not enough. Think how much we could produce if I just bought this guy out, but I will not. No, Danzig and Lubeck are on death's door.
I just had to tear down a business which was no longer profitable, and I have you alone to thank for that.
Great. Oslo is again doing its mooring fees because it's just nasty like that. Otherwise things are looking pretty good. Oh great, hemp production is way up again. I think the wildcard Thagnus would benefit from dragging a whole bunch of that out. And this stuff, it's a, as I said before, it's a feast or a famine. But this is exactly what the wildcard Thagnus was built for. Yoink. Whatever I found is yours now. Lack of iron, though. Where is meant to be giving me the iron again? Helsinki certainly could. And we're trying on that front. Kongsberg, I just made you happy. But you keep wanting horrible things. I will not starve Revel. And we still have too much of that, so I'm going to bring it back. But that's the nice thing. Once I build all these clay pits, I can drop the production of many other things in Hallberg in favour of having some building materials. In fact, it shouldn't take too long for all that to work here because we produce plenty of goods anyway. Look, there are clay pits, tons of them. And since we produce way too many sheep, and I do not look to produce too much more wood, maybe not too much less, but still. There we go. And that should have forced a lot of people to work those clay pits. Good. Oh, I'm satisfied with this. Everything's coming together just right. He says as no taxes stops working. Arson. Yeah, also that's not good for Alberg being in a state of emergency. Jake, if your warehouse is not overflowing by hundreds of thousands, you're doing something wrong. No, I'm doing things very right. Havox is asking a question that comes in very often. Did you play Patrician 3? No, I did not. Boston to Alberg. Okay, those are Hanseatic cogs. I thought for a second those were river cogs. That would have left me feeling very, very odd. Nimwegen though, short on wood, and not horrifically short on clay. Okay, well I mean I would put it as short of workers. That's why we're having a, oh we've had our meal for the poor. I'd still like to turbo jolt it up with workers, but I guess it'll grow of its own accord since everything looks pretty good here. Don't build a defensive tower, please. Right, no other option. Kongsberg? No. Jeez. Just no making that guy happy. Still, Nimwegen should get... I mean, this will all build up in time. I keep bringing token amounts of building materials there, but I suppose I could stand to bring some more. And since you are the wild card for there, and Harlem gets plenty of goods as it is, I should probably just have you stationed in Halberg to bring what you need. Oh, Lubeck man wants to complain more, but because I want to hear him complaining, we're just going to quickly quit and start up again. In the meantime, we can just, you know, look at the spreadsheet because it's glorious. You know, London would be very easy to work up to completion, and that's why I just need loads of clay and wood to build it up as such. So we'll get to that. Anywhere that's just 100 of a good is at least simple to build up. So that's exciting. The difficulty comes for when they have their cathedral, which means I have to build up the whole city and then just artificially push down the number of people, like Rostock, like Stockholm, like Bloemendansea. Alright, game is back. Punk Rock Lee says, any game that encourages spreadsheets played by a proficient player is interesting for me to watch for some reason, even though I have no idea how the game works. I mean, I've been through the game plenty of times, or the game mechanics plenty of times. I don't think there are many secrets left here. Rostock has a good housing capacity. Isn't there a warning for when housing capacity is pretty high? No. I am a little worried about Stettin having housing, warehousing costs though. Well, not worried so much as glad that it means I have a ton of clay. A butt-ton of clay. This is good. This is very good. But they also have a scary level of housing occupancy. Still, that means those bricks need to be brought to Aalborg, where bricks are in constant short supply. Stettin produces 3,000 or so bricks every 10 days. So depending on how close that is, 1 or 2 Carvels will be needed. Stettin, Aalborg, brick, and the Lunara is what Sparkle Plug wants us to call one of our ships, so that's fine by me. So Stettin to Aalborg is a 5-day journey. So that's like a capacity of 4,000 every 10 days, which is more than enough for the Aalborg we're looking for. So you get to Stettin, you unload nothing, you load everything, you go to Aalborg. You load nothing, you unload everything. And that is the Stettin to Aalborg bricks. And sometimes I call them bricks, sometimes clay. It's a tricky